and or good early afternoon, and welcome everybody as we await the end of this weekly candle, which will be in about 7 hours, and we also look at this little bit of a push up here to see, are we gonna have some kind of bullish continuation, some kind of bullish catalyst here? Is this mark the bottom? Is this just a relief rally? These are going to be all the questions we ask ourselves. I suspected at a pretty high understanding of what I was seeing that when it hit 80,000 that we should. Did he really? That's a good sign. So hold on, real quick, everybody, before I continue, I'll update you on my son because I've seen a lot of questions. So as you know, he had an ear infection. He had a fever on Thursday. It's been a mess at school, and just the way my son is nonverbal, he's very hands-on, touchy-feely, so he's gonna pick up a lot of germs, and he's got his G tube, so it makes things a little complicated. But on Thursday he had a fever, so fever, throwing up. We figured he might something with his ears. Doesn't happen all the time, but it just seemed like that could be a possibility. So we took him in, and that's what he had. Friday was bad, a lot of throwing up. Got up to I think 102. It never got to 103, but it was like 102.6. Fever broke after yesterday. Hasn't had a fever yesterday or today. Yesterday, one small throw up, so it was a big improvement from Thursday and Friday. Literally at like, it wasn't even yesterday. It was actually this morning at like 2:30 in the morning. But we've been trying to give him more fluids. He's been getting every 2 hours, a couple ounces, like the PLA and things like that. But for the ones in my audience who know, with his nutrition, it goes to his G tube, so it's like formula based. Basically, it's you can take it almost like if you take a protein drink or a nutritional drink. That's a full supplement for what you need for your daily nutrition. Um, so normally you would get 8 ounces at a time. So we did 2 ounces. He took it. But when we did 3 ounces, it was over 2.5 hours later. It came back up, but it was just one quick up. It was like a normal, like sometimes with the G tube, the stomach's it doesn't settle properly. It digests, but then some of it comes back up, like some of the milk substance and just some of the residue. And that's what it was more like. It was a small amount. He didn't have to do like the big gag reflex. It just came out and it was done. There was no second repeated. There was no it wasn't a continuation. So after that, we kept every 2 hours we gave him fluid, so at least with the G tube we can keep him hydrated, and it's not like the scary thing before, because we can actually, even if he's throwing up, we can at least continue to push fluids. And sometimes it's scary as a parent, but you got to keep pushing the fluids even if your kids are. So now the good news is today he woke up, and yeah, he's a little down still, not his 100% chippery self, because obviously he doesn't feel good. But today now he's drinking more water by mouth himself. He's gotten 2 ounces, 2 ounces, 2 ounces, but we haven't given him any of the milk base yet because we're trying to let his stomach settle and just focus on the Pedialyte. But now he grabbed, for the first time since Friday, he grabbed a snack on his own. So I don't know how it's going to go, but he grabbed veggie trails just now and gave them to Julie. So that means he's starting to feel a little more comfortable here. So I'm very happy about that. It's very stressful. I don't have any other kids besides T, but I helped Julie raise her kids Scarlett since she was 1, and Michaela since she was 7, and now she's 18, away at college, which is weird. And Scarlett's gonna be 13 in August, which is also weird. But with T, his whole thing is different, and Michaela's type 1 diabetic, and that happened when I was part of it. When I first moved in or when we moved in together, and that happened when she was at our house, and it was just a big deal. But that was a long time ago now. But this is with T, it gets even scarier because he can't talk, and he does, but he's nonverbal. And it's scary with the G tube. There's things that you aren't taught, and then when you go to the doctors, they don't know things. So like me and Julie know more now when it comes to that than the doctors, which is not good unless you go to the GI doctors and things like that. But this morning, I know we got a lot of green, but remember what we talked about? Can I just be honest with everybody real quick? Remember what we talked about on Friday? We're going to start the rally. We're going to get a rally. And then once everybody sees that rally start, everybody's going to start to buy in, and then it's going to have to back test the rally. So the thing is like with a lot of these, for Linea, it's the question. Sure, I could sell the copy trade, make what, $150 or whatever. But like that's not really the point of what I try to do. I'm not trying to make small money. The only time I sell it is when I think we can get a little bit better of positioning when it's going to break down. Now, with my son being sick, that cost us a little bit of an opportunity because I wasn't able to focus on this exact wick. But I did buy in when it was somewhere, I don't know, down here, and then it had the nice shot up. So that's nice to see. So I'm just gonna probably stick with it and just see if this holds because it's my understanding when everybody gets scared and just public perception gets into very much fear and it turns into things like that. And I finally figured out why they say 80% off and it's a scam. So, I mean, the essential is 158, so it's 30% off. But I can tell you for a fact when I paid for it all up front for 1 year, it's actually less than that price from when I did it last year. So I'm not sure how this is a deal. Now the top one is absolutely a deal. The premium, that's the real deal. The Black Friday. So if you were gonna do it, like if I was gonna do this, I wouldn't, but would I pay 158 or 272 to get all the extra indicators and things and put everything on and more? I'd probably pay the extra $120 if I'm being honest. Just because you get the price alerts and all that stuff. I'm not doing it because I think it would slow us down a little bit, but I'm just saying from the general standpoint. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here. I just seen on because I looked to the right and I almost didn't believe it because I seen a gifted sub when I first started, and then I seen that donation from George. I almost didn't believe it when I seen it, and then I see another one from Timothy. Like, oof. Well, we're gonna talk about if this is a bull trap. Honestly, nobody knows. Don't you remember what we were talking about on Friday, friends? Everybody was telling me why it wasn't going to hold 80,000 and we are going to go to 72 first. And what did we say? At minimum, 88K. Now, that's why I said it's unfortunate now because where did we come up to? The 87.7 is close enough to me to 88K if that's what it was really going to do. Now, there's a reason for the second Bitcoin chart, but this is basically what we were looking at. Maybe it would come all the way back up. It could come to the FVG and reject, but I'm not convinced that it's going to go way lower now. I was waiting for this drop because I still think you're going to have to retest the rising wedge breakout. Why else would it do that? But I'm going to show you better evidence like yesterday. Yesterday when we were doing this live, and if you guys didn't get to see this live, and I'm going to go through to the ones who just donated because that's something else, man. That's next level, and I can't thank you enough. I really can't. But I would encourage you to watch the live from yesterday because that was probably honestly one of the best, and it's a miracle that I was able to do it like that with how my son was. And yeah, some of you are reading into it because I wore my hat yesterday, and then you're like, oh, it's probably going to pump today. And I'm like, well, that was what I was saying. It was going to pump yesterday to 208 for XRP roughly, or 207, and then we would see what happens. But yeah, I guess people are reading into it the right way because look, I put my hat on and it pumps. So how am I supposed to fight the narrative? But anyhow, it was just what we talked about. XRP, this is bullish. Everybody's wrong. Going back to 2021, Bitcoin is back testing. Breakout target is 134. And the reason I wanted to go back and read that is because for anybody who wasn't here yesterday, we'll get into this first. And we'll start to talk about what all of this means on the chart that I put out from 2021. And I did it in real time with all of you yesterday to show you the significance of what was going on, the measurement, and where this could take us. And we measured it out. So we'll talk about this, but let me do the intro, get to the beautiful souls who have paid it forward this morning because it's extraordinary. And then we're going to get into these charts. Good early afternoon, 12:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Sunday, November 23rd, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So let's get to these donations and gifted subs. My Yard Now, thank you so much for being in Tom's Arm for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. And I'm going to take my vitamin. I forgot to do it. And also for the gifted sub, my friend. AK Sellin, thank you so much for being in Tom's Army now for your first month with the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens. Thanks to the gifted sub. What a beautiful, beautiful, generous son of a gun you are. Mrs. Stott, if you're in here, and I don't want to give anything away, but if you guys are on the Telegram, make sure you go out. Define does a phenomenal job here. Phenomenal. It's just phenomenal. But let's see. I don't know. Let's see. Because I seen a bunch of stuff out. That's 10:31. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Oh, good. He put that up too with it. Good job, Defined. So I haven't been able to get to it because of my son. It's been a crazy couple of days, I must say. Laugh yourself smarter. How humor builds brains, get in, get out. But I don't want to give it all away. But Mrs. Sada, shout out to you for being like, let's see. I don't want to give away the whole thing, but I guess I might. Sorry, Define, I might just give it all away. Where's it? Spotlight. There it is. And I want to read this because all of you know Mrs. Stott now. So this week we're proud to highlight, and we got a couple people, but we'll get to it. We're proud to highlight a member who's highlight Dan, a member whose consistently dedication and genuine heart continues to make a real impact on our community. Today we want to take a moment to recognize, and Dan, that is so true. It's so true. I'm glad that you were the highlighted member too. You've been doing just so much stuff. So impact on our community. So today we want to take a moment to recognize someone whose presence consistently brightens our community. Mrs. G. Stott, she is truly a ray of sunshine, bringing warmth, kindness, and positivity wherever she goes. Her energy uplifts the room, her spirit inspires others, and her steady encouragement has a way of reminding everyone around her that better days are always within reach. So if you want to read more about that and what the kind words about Mrs. Stott, of course you could stop it now, but I encourage you to go into the Telegram and read that and, give a little positivity towards Mrs. Stott. Just maybe we appreciate you. I appreciate you, Mrs. Stott. And I'm proud to have you in Tom's Army. Back to these. George, thank you so much. I don't even know. You caught me off guard. $100 donation. That's something else, my friend. That is something else. I unbelievably, that's awesome. Thank you so much for that. That definitely tells you you're doing the right stuff. It says wish you. I hate that it changed everybody's names on here because right when you get used to somebody, now all of a sudden their names are different. It happens all the time. But George says, and also in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRB 589 Moon Badge, so very super generous. Wish you all the best, Tom. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, George. And obviously, on top of that $100 donation, yeah, ivermectin, it's impossible to get prescribed for him, unfortunately, and for anybody else and trying to go to the doctor's office in Michigan. So you got to go through links to get it. It's not as easy as it sounds right now. But yeah, that I see you. Let's see. And then there was the $20 donation by Timothy Perez. Thank you so much. That is extremely generous, Timothy. Wow. I love that so many people are liking these too. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. A $20 donation says a little something for Little T's Hot Wheels, praying for his complete recovery. Oh, that is so nice. I'm going to get him Hot Wheels just for that. Let me, I'm going to do it right now. Because for $20, I can get him and I seen, because we almost got him something earlier. I can get him and I know this is going to slow the show down, I'm sorry. But hey, when somebody's generous, I like to, sometimes I do things in real time, that's all. But Timothy, this isn't going to go unnoticed, I promise you. This is very generous. That was generous. Very generous. Let me see. Make sure they have the big pack, because then you'll be happy. I guarantee you'll be happy. Because they're Hot Wheels. So, oh yeah, they have them, many in stock. So, you gave me 20, so I'm gonna put it towards, and it's like it's nothing much. It's like $1.10 more. So your money, the whole thing is paying for this. You get, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it. You get a big pack like this. I don't know if you can see it on my phone. Nah. Oh, it switched. What happened? You get a pack like this. Let's see. There we go. So that's what I'm going to do. So I appreciate that, Timothy. I'm going to do it right now. I added it to the order. I've got... Oh, this is going to be great. And thank you so much for that. Seriously, Timothy. He's going to love it. They're his favorite things. I don't know. It might inspire him more today, too, because he's... I can't believe he's got food. Like, to eat by mouth. That's, like, the biggest thing is, like, when he's eating by mouth, you know he's... It's a big thing with him. And then let me get more water. Not on Timothy, of course. This is out of XRP's Future Millionaire's pocket. No getting away from this. Okay, so continue. Sorry, guys. 2 more seconds. Julie? Oh, she can't hear me. Huh? Oh, somebody sent $20 to buy T-Cars, Hot Wheels.
I need to vacuum the living room. He broke one of my mushrooms.
Oh, is that what that noise was? Is he okay?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't hurt himself?
No, he threw it on the carpet.
Oh, okay. T. My son broke one of our things. He's okay. But thank you so much, Timothy. I actually just ordered that. It said it'll be here by 1 o'clock, so maybe while we're on the live. And it's 12:22. Look at that. That's unbelievable. So thank you so much, Timothy. I put that to good use right now. Especially while he's on the mend trying to get better. I think he'll appreciate it a lot. Bassman, thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. And gifting a sub. And Hayden got the gifted sub. Welcome back into Tom's Army, Hayden. 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. That is awesome. It's all in illusion, says Thanksgiving on Thursday. I know, and I'm supposed to have a Thanksgiving party at my house. We do it every year. And now with T being sick, it's kind of... Oh, we still plan on doing it. But I hope he's pushing over the hump. I don't think he's going to be able to go to school necessarily. They only got school Monday and Tuesday. And honestly, that's the least of my worries. He's in kindergarten and being special needs. I mean, and having medical conditions, that's not a big... I don't worry about that stuff. He misses school to hell with him. But yeah, so there's all of that. But I want to get into this now so that we can take an honest look at what we think can happen in these charts. An honest look at what we think is going to happen in the day's, happenings here. Yeah, all the names have changed. It sucks. It really sucks. It's so hard for me because I got the Telegram names. I got them in here, and now they're all changing again. And that's YouTube. I think they do that on purpose, the way they do it. Just so we can't... Think about it. We can't keep a close bond if we don't know who anybody is. I read into that a little bit. Now, here's another thing I read into. So on Friday, when everybody was contemplating that the market was dead, right? And that it wasn't going to go up and it was going to drop, we knew we could come into a spot like this where we could rise up. But now the problem is, now once everybody else is looking on Monday or Sunday night, and they're looking probably Monday morning, and they're like, okay, the crypto market's moving up. Now it's freezing up. Now they might end up coming into the market. And this is the exact time where, what could you do? You could pull the Uno reverse card and say, hey, this is a good time to reverse and consolidate to make sure it's the breakout. But we have to go through a couple things. So we'll get through the XRP chart. We'll get through the Bitcoin. We got to start with the Bitcoin chart first so that I can show you. Is this building an inverse pattern? It's possible. We swung around, come up. Now, in the 60-second TA this morning, I talked about back testing this little area. We're overbought in the 4-hourly and the 3-hourly. The daily's in a good spot. Reversing up. Weekly's in a great spot. Monthly for XRP, actually, believe it or not, is right at the neutral area. Does that mean it's the finalized? No. We've drawn this out in case it comes down again, because this could be some kind of support down here even, but that's something to be talked about in a little bit, because we got to get through this. But I got to take my vitamin before I run out of energy. I love those little malt, or not the best tasting, but it gives you your essential minerals and stuff, and a little bit of caffeine. It's the only caffeine I get throughout the day. But anyhow, so with XRP, best way to look at it is it's still if we're in like this broad or not broadening wedge, but in a megaphone pattern. And it came down here now. I mean, it took the route down. I wish this was pulled down farther so you could emphasize this a little. Oh, here, I know what I can do. Like this. So it pulled down. So it didn't take the up route yet. So we don't know what this does. We don't know if it comes down to come back or goes up to come back down again. But the good news is now you don't even need to do that. We speculated a way to get down here to 195, remember, was when it was up here that we could rotate here and come back down, or it just rotates down and goes back up, and then it either breaks out and ends into an alt season again or a continuation, or we work our way back down. You could have a V shape, or you just come right back down. Coming back down here, in all honesty, if we come up to 264 and come all the way back down, to me, could be a cause for concern. Remember, you only need 3 hits on each side, and technically, you want to see like how this is going. Resistance, support, support 3. You'd like to see it break out at resistance 3 and then back test it for the move up. Otherwise, you might get a resistance, support, third support, third resistance. And then if it comes down here, dude, does it hold? I like to see it go through on that third hit in the area. I don't want to just see it dick around. I like hit it, consolidate, and then go back through. I don't want to see it come all the way back down. This is fine. If you had a liquidity drawdown, that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind something like that, even if it was a liquidity drawdown a little bit lower. But if we start coming all the way back through, I have a little bit of a problem with that, because that's where you could get that. Let's just call it this. If you come all the way up here and you garner all of this liquidity, last time when you came up here, it allowed you to come through here. Now you clear all of this space again. Remember, you've already cleared all of this. And then you're going to clear all of this as well, which means if you reject here, you're not going to have anything really stacked here to hold you up like you did this time. Okay, you're running thin. You've already come through here 3 separate times. So eventually, boom, boom, boom. You keep hitting this, you're going to fall through. Same thing can be said. Boom, boom. Now, could this be... This is the issue too. Listen, you're flipping from support, resistance, back around. So now we're trying to build a new support structure. Floor, back where we were at from the pattern, where we broke down, and now where we're trying to have this. And what some could argue is this is either a reversal going into a bear season, because this is your bullish, bearish line right here, literally in real time, or you're setting up for the next push. And that's why this historic liquidation and these big wicks to me are important. This shows manipulation at its finest with the trading bots so that they can liquidate all the longs below. A lot of people are saying there's no longs left, or there's too many longs. That's tomfoolery, okay? There's not too many longs. It's almost dead even now, within a couple $1 billion. And I know it sounds like a lot of money, but before Bitcoin had there was at times we were seeing $10 and $12 billion more to the upside. It was pretty remarkable, and more, because there were so many longs. But a lot of them got liquidated. Like for XRP, it's a lot lower. Like there was a time when we were seeing $8-9 billion on the futures market. Now there's some days we're seeing a couple $100 million between the exchanges. Yesterday, I think it was 2.1 billion or something. So 4 point something between shorts and longs, which was a lot of volume. But I'm very comfortable where we're at, folks. I am more comfortable now. This is the most comfortable I've been since we had to sell out in January when we were cycle topping on most things. Now, obviously, you know the routine with XRP. We have multiple bags. There's one that doesn't get... I don't need to explain it. If you guys are here long enough, you're going to know about it. If not, it's not even worth me explaining, because you're going to get the hell out of here anyhow. So what the hell's the point? That's what I got to remember. Who cares? I don't need to say it every time. So this is where we hit exhaustion, consolidation. Right, like we were exhausted. There was no more buyers. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, it was obvious. Boom. Held, support, right? Resistance, support. Couldn't get back up, so we hit support again. Resistance, support. So now in theory, I still think that not maybe a bull flag, but a bullish megaphone. And that's what we identified a few weeks or a month ago or whatever the hell it was. It seems like it's been forever because we've been talking about this like our head's going to pop off. And maybe it's just me being short fused because literally I haven't slept a lot in like 4 days. Um, Last night I got like 3. I think I fell asleep at, what was it? Me and Julian went to bed at like 4. Woke up at like 7 when T come and got me in the living because I go to sleep on the couch ever since it's YouTube, and then I'll go in the room if everything's good at like 4 a.m. and get up at 7. But um, nope, guys, I wouldn't do anything. I'll relearn you. Mr. Stott is Tin Bender Bear. Like Mrs. Stott, how am I supposed to know Mr. Stott is at Tin Bender Bear? How am I supposed to know this? Who the hell is anybody? I know the Cannabis Podcast. Thanks for being in Towns Under 6+ month free predictor. Oh, this is crazy. I know who Frankie Fresh is, and he just said it, but he's Clean Bellies. I remember this from before when it changed on him. So, Mr. Stott, you're the Tin Man. Oh, wait a minute. I know who everybody is, actually. Well, no, I don't. It's going to take me remembering what everybody's symbol looks like. But Shane is clinked a bit, Dunbar, because it says S next to his name. Oh, fuck. Some of the pictures, though, are going to confuse me. Like, Nana's dad, boy, I know who this is. I just can't remember the name now. Dan. Not Dan. I didn't see Dan. I know who Dennis is, where the D is, the orange D, and he verified it. So that's Maple. So Maple Man is Dennis Smith, for anybody wondering. Frankie says, Tom, what kind of Hot Wheels does he like? My best friend, who is 42 years old, still collects them. He loves the so if we can ever find like, so he likes the Hot Wheels in general. So like I don't have any right here, but just the general Hot Wheels. But he likes the ones that have like if you get like the classical looking cars, the Corvettes, or if you can find the ones that he's all into the tires too. So certain kind of tires, because he likes to take things apart and try to put them back together. I call him a systems guy. Like it must be the way his brain works with, being on the spectrum and autism and just being special needs, and the way that his mind works with not being nonverbal and the way he perceives things. There's something about he likes to take things apart. He likes to know how everything works. And yeah, it might seem like destruction to some, but like the more me and Julie watched it as he was younger and starting to get older, he legitimately tries to put things back together now. When he was smaller, he would try to like bite the batteries, which was a no-no, so we had to keep him away. Now, if the batteries come out, he doesn't like for a while now. He doesn't touch them. He gives them back. So like he's processing a lot better. Like he's understanding. But he likes the Hot Wheels that you can find that are more like the classic looking cars. He likes the ones that if you can ever find them, and I know it's not as common with Hot Wheels, but if doors open and the trunks open, but you got to buy the bigger Hot Wheels for that. But the smaller pack, like what I was showing, I guess the best way that I can show you is like this. And I know it takes away from our time, everybody, but hey, I got asked a question. So we've been buying them these 20 packs. Let's see. That look like these 20 packs, but they're all different. So, some look like that, they're all different. So no matter where you go, like he loves these kind that look like this, like the older style, the roadsters or the speedsters. But yeah, there's all different kinds. I don't know how much money I've spent on these cars over the years. He just loves all different kinds. I think today I got it from BJ's because they had a specific kind that I noticed. And with the generous donation, I was able to get them, which is awesome. So basically the one I can show you in real time, Timothy, this is what your pack looked like, and he's going to love it. Notice the difference is how there's like the race cars and like the actual, he loves all of these when they're all different. And so yeah, he's gonna love this pack. This is the one that I got him. See, I told you it was only like $1.99 more. So thank you very much for that, my friend Timothy. That was super generous. Super generous for TT. He's gonna love it. I use a lot of the donations for T anyhow. So. My girl hates BJ's. Don't they all, Eric? Don't they all? Eric just, hey, this isn't this is a whole shopping center. This is a whole shopping center. Yeah, that's how we'll keep it. Um, but hey, I wouldn't like it anyhow. Look at these things hanging from us. They're hideous. They're hideous. If I was presented one of those in front of me, I'd say put that thing back. You know? So I can't argue. We're grotesque. Frankie says little T gets whatever. Yes. Yes indeed. Yes indeed. Let's see. Somebody said, is that Mike Smiles? Have you ever pulled up the videos of people with the giant Hot Wheels racetracks from my buddy Bubba? Yes, Mr. Stott, I have actually. We trust me, we're trying to figure out a way to expand this little thing that he loves into something even bigger. I actually bought him like this whole big we got to put it together and we're thinking for Christmas, but I bought it a little early. I had a good week with maybe when crypto was running and I decided to buy it a couple months ago before Christmas, but do it for Christmas. But it's like this little you put it together and it's like a normal kitchen. Even like the stuff opens, water can go through things. It's like it's got the normal refrigerator and it's got lights that go on. It's a couple $100, but it's a nice quality one. I think it was like maybe I want to say like $300 maybe. It's expensive, but especially for how he is, it's for him to incorporate all of this, and he's so smart with all of that. What is going on with the pricing difference? Which exchange is this? BITUNIX. See what the hell's going on here? Why is the price so different? Because that 4 hourly screams me that we're gonna have to have some kind of recovery to the downside, and this isn't a bad thing, guys. Once this happens, and it doesn't have to happen yet, because we're kind of close to coming up here for this back area that I was talking about. I would like to see that happen. Would like to say that. Man, once it gets to winter, I look hideous. All that sun goes away. I turn into like a ghost. Look how white I'm getting. Woo! I'm turning into white. You're gonna be calling me Casper the Ghost soon. But hey, that's Michigan for you. But yeah, I was looking at this retest up here at 88,400 on Friday when we were all the way down here when everybody was delirious. And I'm like, I bought. Like, hey, when I buy, nobody buys. When I don't buy, everybody wants to buy. So then on Friday, when I'm like, hey guys, I bought for what I think is going to be like a 15-20% pump across the market. Got a lot of it's going to 72 right now on based on what? You got to build topside liquidity. So Bitcoin, that would be 8.5%. How far did XRP go? I just need to see this for an example. So from the bottom in the reversal, because when we came on, it was still at $1.89, $1.88, $1.87 on Friday. Saturday it was at $1.92 still. So from the bottom, no, I don't even want to go from the bottom. I want to go from here, $1.88. So at the peak, it went up 10.3 just from there. What is it from the bottom? Because we need to know. If it's 15-20% from where the bottom was. Ooh. Okay, so I think we're very accurate. And then what we said was once it comes up 10 or 15-20%, we said 10 maybe on some, but 15-20% overall. Once that happened, then you're going to get a lot of people that frantically panic and come in. And then what happens? It's almost by design. Now you got the RSI or the stochastic RSI, which is very sensitive, is way overbought now. So now, to me, conventional logic says, okay, maybe we come back up a little bit farther, or maybe it's up far enough. Now we pull this down. Look, this is what conventional logic would tell me. And you tell me if I'm on the right track or if I'm a complete asshole. Because if I'm on the right track, we could maybe take advantage of this in the copy trade and have others who are trying to get in it. And I can give us a profitable win here. And then we can watch the back test if we can come to a unified decision on everything else. And I have no problem making $100-$150, selling it and doing it again until we're ready. Now, if this comes back down here and it solidifies, so I look at this and we want to emulate this right here. So then if we expanded back out, I would look at something back down like this because we would want to now emulate this. I try to do the same thing with the algorithm. So maybe it drags down, back out, And then you see how this area right here, so then you come up, maybe you push down, back test this little area across, push back up, come to the 200, then you'd have to straggle a little bit just to see what happens. Maybe create like some kind of falling channel. Maybe you back test into here, have an overzealous, like really quick liquidation. But that's what I could see happening if we're going to start to do this. But that means now we're going to have a little rotation here to the downside to grab that liquidity. See, what goes up must come down, what goes down must go up. But it's a game. It's a never-ending game of, do we have enough of the flow to continue the push? So I'm going to start showing you more stuff like this. This is how my mind works. I don't give a rat's ass about most of the other bullshit. I just know that on Friday, nobody wanted to buy. Now on Sunday into Monday, everybody's like, oh my God. So now everybody's on Sunday. Football's about to start. What better time than have this little consolidation maybe? But it could come tonight. I know we're a little out of whack now, though. Bitcoin's over the CME close, which means we're top elevated, which means that this, and listen, let me just explain this. When Friday night happens and the Chicago Mercantile Exchange closes, and I'm trying to be passionate without being loud. When this happens on Friday night, okay, if you go down and then on Monday morning you've got to climb up to get back there or sometime in the next weeks to come, that means you're going to be looking to use that as a resistance area. What we did is we had a close on Friday at $1.94. We had a CME close on Bitcoin at 84,600. Okay, that's where we have an elevation now, which means we've cleared out almost $2,200 here to where we can legitimately fall off by $2,200 and use that as a support structure from the CME standpoint. Now, ask yourself, what area at 84,600 was significant? Why is that substantial? Why does that even matter to me? Let's go back into the area. Let's go back into the chart. You see what you do if you start playing that? So we came back. We bounced all the way through. Not only did we clear the FVG that we've been talking about for seemingly forever, top and down to the bottom, 92.4 all the way down to the 88.4 area. That filled that entire FVG. Not only that, we filled a CME that's been sitting here for some time at 84,000, bottom end 200 area, 85,800 at the top. Closed it completely. Only thing we need to do now is, well, we don't know if it's going to happen because we never got the retest, like I've been saying, of the rising wedge breakdown, which is important. So let me continue. I digress. So let's say we do sneak up here a little bit. Let's just say for whatever reason on Sunday before the futures market opens, maybe even when it does, we pop up here because I still think 88,200 is the realistic area. I really do. I think that's what the projection should be because you should come up to that FVG now and use it as resistance the first time since you fell below. But you can't use it in resistance until you use it as resistance. Then that should give us the ability to bounce between this FVG and then come back down and fill that weekend CME, and it should push us to the bottom of this pattern. Leads you up more towards the top, 84.6. That's pretty damn close, though. So 84.6 puts you at the bottom of the CME, which means you could validate that entire section, grab all of the added liquidity, or you just bounce here, but it's this is how you have to look at this. So this is a big, to me, this is big. So I ask you, do you think we continue up to 88,800? Do you think that should be the area of resistance you look at to maybe unload? I'm not saying to do it right now. Or 88,000. Let me put a price. And by the way, can I ask the audience, are you liking the way these lives are going more with the way we're doing it like this? And not the, it could do this, it could do that. No, this is what it's going to do. I'm not a financial advisor, and if it doesn't do it, good. But this is what I think is going to happen, and I'm going to do things according to what I think. So you got that. The other thing is remember what I said about Epic. I said when it was way up here that we're going to watch it. It's going to be our judge. So here's the question. One, everybody can be part of my Epic trade, even though I'm in it, because I bought it when it made the double tap. Just like I said, I have no problem. We talked about it Friday to sell it and then put it in a copy trade. I just need universal. But I did stay with Linnea because, hey, you know what? I try to wait for everybody, but I can't. So we did the small trade on Linea. Well, not small, but the short-term trade. And it was supposed to be for this push up. Now, I'm trying to do this universally. And I want to see what everybody thinks. But right now, are we going to get that consolidation? Maybe. It might come all the way back down to 955, which means you could buy it back for where basically the move happened. You could get a test here. You could break out. But I want to know from everybody, what do you think the play right now would be? Would you take, let me just tell you what the profit is right now. And it's not like, oh my God, this is the craziest, largest, most historic amount of profit we've ever seen, because it's not at all. But I think we're going to have to back test this. So you got one moment here if you want to do this. We're up $178 on the copy trade right now. So, and they're only 1x. So it's one of those things. We can take that profit and try to lower our entry from 957 on the last one on average. And try to maybe not even just lower it. You can try to buy it back when it comes here. Obviously, you run the risk because you have a 4-hour engulfing candle that made a new high. Obviously, I could make a point that this could be a head, shoulder, head that ends up making back to the bottom. There's no way to really digest this more than that. We don't have any evidence. But right now, it's tough. I think it's a good idea. Get it, cut out, get in, get out, and just hear your thoughts on you think will happen. Then we can decide. Oh, yes. Okay. Define says, and Define, thanks for being a very trusted mod for 6+ months with the XP Predictor. Says, yes, Tom, for my feedback received, I think it's a good idea. Get it, could, or idea. It could out. Oh, yeah. Get it, could out, and just hear your thoughts on you think will happen. Then we can decide. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it how you just described it. That's what I was trying to say. You said it even better. So, and I know Define's not in the copy trade, so I've got to, this would be a strategic time to do this. So yes or no, guys, like anybody who is, I enjoy this way of direction you're going with your life. Oh, I love it. Does it look like I had it? Oh, yes, Bitcoin very well could be a head and shoulders. That's the problem, my friend. You're absolutely on the money. So what I'm going to do, because I know there's a few people that are not in the Linea trade, and this could backfire, like I said. This could go right up right now. That's the problem. But I think I'm going to take that $160-something. We'll take the win. And then I'm going to try to see if Define gets his stuff figured out, and then we can talk about the Epic copy trade with a few more dollars in the pocket and see if we want to merge that. Because like I said, I'm not in that. Well, I am, but it's sold if it comes below. It's almost there. But I think we're starting to go into what we were talking about with the phase. So everybody on Friday who missed out, now we're going to get the consolidation, and now we should get the back test. So it's meant to be swing trade here for Linea. So I hope nobody gets mad if I do sell it, but that's where my heart's at right now. We'll see. Yep, we can do Epic for sure. So Define, do you think that's a good idea then what I'm talking about with Linea, and just take the $164 for the group and then reset? Or do you think, I don't know. It's a tricky spot because right now I'm looking at the 45. It's still over the 200 day. But I'm also looking at the fact that we can't possibly break out to our highest levels until we start to validate this move. So maybe it's 979. Where's the 2 hour? 2 hours still way up there. Jesus. Because I don't really want to miss that move. That's the part of this that's kind of stopping me a little bit. I don't want to miss that move. It's just I know we've got a layer of consolidation here, which we'll see. Do your thing, Tom. We trust you. That's why we're in with you. True that. That's true. Hey, man, thanks for being in Tom's Arm for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. And also putting out that, your question about is Bitcoin on a head and shoulders, because it's possible. It is possible. That's worst case scenario. But if it is on a head and shoulders, and I still think Bitcoin now, with that CME looming, I think this would be the time in the morning here, possibly this might not be the entire shakedown though. That's because we still have to come up a little bit more. Like the 4 hourly suggests Hey, pay attention to longer scale because we kind of have a reversal candle here. That's a perfect reversal here in the 4-hour. Honestly, I mean, in the daily, not 4-hour, but in the daily, that's a perfect reversal candle as it stands. So there's still evidence that we need to come higher. Like I don't think I'm going to get rid of the copy trade just yet. I think Bitcoin could come to double bottom from 74 neckline, then up to 104 to form the right shoulder. Interesting. That's an interesting assessment. That is definitely possible. It's not completely different from what I've talked about. The only difference is like we've got to, this is the chart I want to talk about because it's one of two things, folks. Either Bitcoin is in fact creating a head and shoulders because a lot of people will point to this, right? Or we're legitimately going cuckoo because we're not paying attention because we're only seeing what we want to see in the moment. Remember, when in doubt, pull it out. That goes for more than just the charts. When in doubt with who you're with, pull it out no matter what, right? Because you don't want to get stuck with a lifetime of responsibility with somebody that you don't want to be with. And I'm not talking about your kid that will come from it. I'm talking about the person you got to deal with. The kid's beautiful no matter what. Yeah, when in doubt, pull it out. And that goes on more levels than just one. So anyhow, resistance, support. This was a broadening wedge that was formed here in 21. So we double topped, right? Everybody says this was the top, double top. No, this was the top, double top, rejected, down, found support, bounced off here. So you could technically raise it here just a little bit. Oh, that's how I got 134. That makes sense. I'm like, how did I get one? Because I did it like this so that it would validate the second or the third hit. Oh, that's how it happened. Okay, anyhow. So it hits this, bounces out. Now you can create a series of consolidations where we had this top up, another one here. So resistance in 21, resistance here in 24, breakout, back test in 25, push out. Validation is either going to come here or from what we created right here in April of 25, we come down here and validate this broadening wedge just like we did down here. And then we can decide. Now, if we come down here first into this red zone, and I circled it here and made a big red circle here, that to me is the liquidities hub. And when we got to 80,000, we were within this liquidity zone. Here, let me emphasize this more by putting it. We were inside of that liquidity box. We just entered it, in my opinion. And I call it that because you got clusters right here. I could almost emulate this circle and say, we're trying to emulate this box right here. We're trying to garner this liquidity of WEEX that went up into that zone. Actually, it goes down a little bit farther. But we're trying to emulate that. And here we are into a deeper zone where we just re-entered it. Now, are we going to stop at the top of the zone? Or are we going to find ourselves some strength all the way down? And what is the significance of 72? The significance is if we go to 72, that's the breakdown target of that rising wedge. Literally, I have it at 72,683 where it's at right now. But we never got the validation of a real backtest. So that's why I think that it can get dangerous here. And that's why I'm also not in a hurry to get rid of and just take some easy money. So different. It's a different part of the pattern right now. So it can get very tedious. I would, if I'm one of you guys, listen, I've had to consider this myself, Tom. You have 115,000 plus IOTA. You have 60,000 algo. You need to take 10, and this is my thoughts in my head, and I pondered it last night, and I dreamt, and I slept on it, that I need to take 10,000 algo and 15,000 IOTA, have 50,000 algo, 100,000 solid IOTA, and put that would be, just hear me out, put that, and I did my due diligence selling out and I was able to get more tokens, but I'm thinking instead of adding on top of 100,000 IOTA, which I already did, but I can get rid of them for no fee basically on WEEX. And algo, I got an extra 10,000, which now is worth 4.2% more. I was thinking I need to take 10,000 of those, which would be $1,400, and then another 1,100, which would be 2,500. Take another 500 that I had on the side that I can take and just put into it, and take and buy spot into VeChain and have a couple 100,000 tokens, because I'm going to tell you right now, you only get so many chances when you see something like this. And I might look at the monthly. VeChain's monthly is literally begging for attention. And that doesn't mean it can't go lower, but it's begging. And if it breaks down this entire thing, so be it. But it is begging right now. Like, I've never seen in my whole history doing this with Ethereum besides one, or VeChain besides one time, and this was in the 22 meltdown, ever come down here. Ever. I've never seen it down here except one time in its history. I'm not talking about me looking at it. I'm talking about, like, when you go back into its past, unless you find the right chart, you're not. It's so hard to find this. So, I mean, you're talking about it came way down here, and I don't think it's down as far as it was. So, you know, there's always the it's pretty fucking close now, I'll be honest. Ooh. So what I'm saying is we are in the tight accumulation zone right now for VeChain. And you may have to buy it, and then it breaks this support, and then it does come down a little bit farther. But just look, you have a baseline. Buy, support. So here, we'll go through the whole damn thing like I always do. And I'm not saying, hey, it can go here or there. No, I'm telling you, it's either going to do this based on the fundamental setup, or you're going to have to sell. Notice how I've been saying you can buy it, but if it breaks this structure, you have to sell it if you don't want to ride it down, and then you buy it to the bottom of the target. If you don't want to sit through it. Not everybody's going to sell. Not everybody's going to sell it. Gets into a dicey game, especially if you don't have the deeper understanding. So right now you've got wiggle room. It can come down better than almost 8% and still be perfect. Now, the reason why you'd be like, oh, well, if it comes through here, maybe you could have a repositioning. And I would start at 1186 because that's a 35% technical drop. Do I think that's going to happen? Not necessarily. I don't. I don't think that's necessarily going to 100% happen, because I thought it was coming down here to consolidate. And now that it has, you know, it's one of those things you buy support, sell resistance. So, like, and I'm not saying I don't own VeChain. I just don't have it in the fashion I want, because I didn't know if I wanted to do this. So all I did when it hit that support line, and it's dangerous, and I don't like saying this, is I had $1,045 that I had to do a 3x to do the same thing I want to do in spot if I make the decision I make. So yeah, I have an unwavering position open that I don't like, but it was for a reason. It's in profit, and it's got enough room on a 3x to where it's still got a lot of room here before it even comes back into the negative. But I want to make this decision sooner rather than later. So if you were me, would you, and I'm just asking an honest question, would you go from 115,000 IOTA, which obviously because of selling out before drops went from 40, and this was without adding money, to 80, to 100, to now 115,000 solid, I'll say. Would you go from 115 to 100, and then with IOTA or Algo, we went from 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 with the same philosophy? Would you cut that back to 50, still being, and then put that into a VeChain position? And if you had that, it's over 200,000. And I've always I thought the magic number would be at least 100,000 at these levels, but I'm going 200,000. And then I could always pile into it as it goes. Absolutely. Michael Saylor's average of 74,433 means that a relief rally is soon coming. Make no doubt about it. This whole setup is meant to have this whole thing come down sometime in early February to March with MicroStrategy. So relief rally to come, big one at some point, big one, probably to 134. So that these big business and corporations that know what's up can exit on this next pump. There's always a foreshadowing event. You just got it. I foreshadowed it for you. Get it? Got it? Good. Got it. Remember, everything I've been talking about is now becoming the problem with Bitcoin. That's coming in the news, the things I talk about day after day. Absolutely. I think Algo and everything can still come back down. Abso-friggin-lutely. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. And right now it's almost positioned in a spot where everything is coming up to that rejection area, 100%. Michael Saylor, though, like I've told you guys, don't refer to him as just a regular person. He's controlled opposition. He works for the U.S. government, okay, to help push and master the biggest Ponzi scheme known to man. This is not by anything but design. Oh, I agree, Frankie. It's a lot of VeChain, but I'm a big fan of VeChain. It's one of the main operative tokens of the IOTA. Tom, can you help me understand why the 2-hour stochastic won't budge? Because it's ready to double top. One top, down, double top. This is the M structure formation right here. Classic double top, back down. It's going to budge. Probably to come back down and fill these CMEs. Once everybody realizes that we're pumping, it's going to reverse. It's exactly what I said Friday. It's fun today. Come Sunday night or Monday morning when everybody sees it, likely it could be Monday morning. That's when it's going to become trouble. But that's all. It's all an illusion. That's why. It's working. It's doing it. It's going to budge. It has to do the double top. Or it can do a continuation here for a little bit. But generally when you look at that, you look at the 4-hourly with the stock as well. And then you look at this, the 4-hourly, way too high now. It's at 100. Even if it comes down here and holds 80, it's way too high. So at some point, maybe it's right here at 14.2. Maybe it's up here at 14.4. I would say for the short term, we've more than likely coming up to our resistance area in the short term with this move. It's just, we could 88,400 is a possibility, remember. Julie? Well, I want to ask Julie something real quick. Julie? Did he eat any of the food? Well, Andy's holding it all down right now without the... You want to go back and do this work? You want to go? I'll go back. So go finish your job. Take a high five at least. He shut it. Thank you, T. So I went out there to make sure he was good, and he literally just walked me back in here and shut the door. So he said, go finish what you're doing real quick. That's funny. Do you still have to wait 30 days to rebuy even on a no KYC exchange? What do you mean? Do I have to wait 30 days to rebuy? Tom, what do you think about selling some assets for a loss to offset gains for tax purposes? I'm really contemplating this. Absolutely. I'm a big fan of that. But listen, you have to remember when you do this, you got to be careful. A lot of people that tax harvest, they end up losing position and it ends up not paying off in the end. And what I mean by that is they're tax harvesting, but they unfortunately don't do it in the best possible way. And they end up losing position. So let's say you're trying to tax harvest and you got 10,000 XRP. Well, you do it at the wrong time and somehow you buy it back at the wrong time. It ends up costing you, depending on exchange fees, you can get yourself in trouble. I've seen people try to do this and they'll go from an asset and they'll end up losing 10 or 12% of their asset to try to not have to pay. And remember, when you do that, technically, if you're negative, you can only be $3,500 is the most you can write off a year, but you're trying to offset your gain. So it's not necessarily about a tax loss. It's about, I'm up a bunch. Now my positions are down. I'm going to sell it at the end of the year. So, but yeah, in crypto, there's technically no 30-day wash period. So you can sell and buy back. In crypto, like if I sold commodities and I wanted to wash the gains, and this is not just for like, even if you're up money on it, if you want to sell out, because it's the opposite too. Some people want to sell out gains to offset their losses. And it's the same deal. If you buy it back within 30 days, if you go look at it, your position's not going to show the new number. Even if it's 10% higher, it's going to show what it was when you had initially bought in way farther down, and it's just going to reopen it in the same perspective. And then it's going to add a little bit over the top, and you're going to lose a few shares. So it was really explained well in the Telegram, a great example. There was a good example in the Telegram. But yeah, just be careful though, because if you sell it and then buy it back at the wrong spot, you can lose tokens. It's not all apples to apples, so you have to be careful when doing that. Big time. That's more a scheme for some who have a lot of money, and some is up, some is down. You know, and you kind of position it based on your portfolio at the time. But I really should go because my son's sick. I don't want to keep talking too much. I think we did a good job here this morning. I think we're on the same page. Epic, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep it open until it goes to the area where, just like everything, I'm going to keep it open until they do what they need to do. Or if they break down the areas that we've talked about. Axelar is another one that at some point here is going to make somebody very, very happy. Look at that. It is so oversold. And yes, that's one I don't talk about a lot, but it's one that on these drops, I don't know if I want to buy more, but I have 10,000 tokens. I almost convinced myself to do 20, but just because of the way my portfolio is set up, I don't know if I have enough to be able to spread it around more. So I said 10,000 with this one, and that's good enough for me because I think it's going to do special things. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, have a good day, everybody. I'm going to go make sure everything's good. I don't know if we'll have a live tonight, to be honest. It all depends on my son. If he's keeping everything down and I feel everything's good, yeah, we might touch base again tonight. No doubt about that. But it all honestly depends on him. All depends on him. And then I guess the last thing is I think I like the idea of taking this and then possibly riding and seeing 2-hourly. Obviously, we can see the double tops breaking bearish right now. Hourly's about to push down, possibly. We'll see if we get a fight or flight here. That's the problem when you see these short-term ones. See if we get a sell. But this is pushing down now in the 45, so we need to see if this is a V shape and the stochastic. Let's see where the 30, because even the 30 suggests coming down to 991. About the 4 hour, just out of curiosity. Where's the 20 down here? The one thing too that I want to pay attention to is the fact that I think it would make sense to back test this at 959 because every time we've tried, we've failed. But understanding 1088 would be the top end of that wick. This is technically filled out this little area. I would love to see a back test here. If somebody asked me where I would tell them to buy it, I would say, wait this out because you've already missed this push up and try to see if it back tests maybe the 20-day, maybe down here. I mean, it's tricky because if it doesn't break down, obviously, but I think we see a clear path here at some point. See, that's the hard part because you don't know if it's going to break down right away, if we're going to keep pushing that 88,300 area for Bitcoin first. That's the caveat here. I don't know. We have the Bitcoin CME down at 84.6, so we do know that underneath area exists. So we'll stay updated on this. I'll keep you updated. Yeah, and we'll get through more stuff later.